Did you know that in a wrongful death lawsuit in New York, we only have to show that we are more likely right than wrong, that the doctor violated the basic standards of medical care? You didn't know that? Come join me as I share with you more great information about wrongful death lawsuits. Hi, I'm Gerry Oginski. I'm a New York medical malpractice and personal injury trial lawyer practicing law here in the state of New York. Joan Rivers, the comedian, died just yesterday after being taken off life support. And now, this was in the news and it's still in the news today because she's a big entertainer, and you know what? People are interested in what happened to her, especially because of the fact that she had some type of surgical procedure in an endoscopy center. And now, during the course of that procedure, she went into cardiac arrest and apparently lapsed into a coma and remained in a coma for 8 days prior to her death. So now I've been getting calls left and right from people who want to know there's a heightened awareness about wrongful death lawsuits, especially because her daughter Melissa, a few days earlier, was contemplating bringing a medical malpractice lawsuit for the fact that her mother, Joan, was now in this terrible condition. So now, these people are calling and they want to know, wait a second, what do we have to prove? What do we have to show in order to determine that we have a valid basis for a case? Well, I will share something with you, and this is important. We only have to show that we are more likely right than wrong, that the doctor violated the basic standards of medical care. Now, what does that mean? Well, if you watch any criminal trials or you learn about criminal cases, you will learn that the prosecutor in a case, when somebody is charged with a crime, has to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that that person committed that crime. And that's a huge burden that the prosecution has in order to show that they did in fact commit that crime. In a case like this involving improper medical care that ultimately leads to significant injury and death, we only have to show that we are more likely right than wrong. We don't have a higher burden as a prosecutor does in a criminal case. Legally, you may have heard the term preponderance of evidence. That's the legal phrase. But what it really means is that if things are evenly balanced, 50-50, all we have to do is tip the scales ever so slightly, just slightly, so that we are more likely right than wrong in order to justify a verdict in our favor. So we don't have to have the jury sit there for weeks on end making 100% absolutely sure that what we are saying is true. They don't have to sit there racking their brains saying whether or not a witness that they believe is 100% true. Instead, they have to take the evidence that's presented, the testimony that's presented by the medical experts, and all they have to know is, are we more likely right than wrong? Do we tip the scales just ever so slightly? If the answer is yes, then the jury is ultimately required to give us a verdict in our favor, showing that the doctor is responsible for the injuries and that the injuries are significant. And now, the jury will then be obligated to go ahead and compensate the family based upon the evidence that's presented at trial. So that's what we have to show when we bring a wrongful death lawsuit here in the state of New York. And if Joan's family, her daughter Melissa, goes ahead and brings a lawsuit, that's exactly what they have to show. And people in a similar situation where they've had a loved one die and now they're contemplating bringing a lawsuit for wrongful death here in New York, that's what we have to show. We don't have to show with 100% certainty. We don't have to show 75%, only slightly more than 50%. So why do I share this great information with you? I share it with you to give you an insight and an understanding into what goes on in wrongful death lawsuits here in the state of New York. Because of Joan's unfortunate and tragic death, it has raised tremendous awareness of people who are considering bringing lawsuits for their loved one's loss, for their death. And now they want to know, how does the lawsuit process really work here in New York? You know, if you do have legal questions and your matter happened here in New York, what I encourage you to do is pick up the phone and call me. I can answer your legal questions. This is something I do every single day, and I'd love to chat with you. You can reach me at 516-487-8207 or by email at Gerry, G-E-R-R-Y, at oginski-law.com. That's it for today's quick video. I'm Gerry Oginski. Have a great day.